Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the Codcast. I'm Andrew Smith.
Chimalilo then inside the Workington half as it takes the left-hand touchline, drives down that line and past Kieran Casson now, just comes inside with the ball. Ball into the penalty area there, just needed a telling touch from either Kell or Farah. Didn't quite managed to, and it's picked up by Mitchell, who balls it out over arm now. And then almost by the edge of their own technical area, but taken down now by Stephen Rigg, who just nicks it off the touch of his man Rigg. Gives it now into Galloway. Galloway edges with this penalty area. Gets past Collins, gets a shot away, pushed away by Bland. Trying to follow in, and Whitby, in the end, it's out to play for a Whitby goal kick. Hawkins just loses his foot as Workington looks to get forward. Then Watts now playing it into Michael Woods. Woods slipping it to Farah in the penalty area. Farah now going to get a shot into the side net in there. Hawkins, who has a bit of a battle on his hands with Ellis, he wins it. The Hawkins now ball low onto the penalty area. Woods arriving there. Effort. Quite managed to Woods at the second attempt blocked, and it will be a corner to Whitby.
I think it might have hit Chimalilo, that one.
To be fair, there was one down there who gave a goal kick, and it was never a goal kick in a month of Sundays, so frankly, nothing surprises me. It's now for Workington to move it forward, chipping it, looking for the run of Stevenson. Gets a shot away, pushed wide by Shane Bland there from Stevenson. It will be a corner to the visitors. Time who sends it first time for Harrison down the right hand side. Harrison now for Whitby into the penalty area. Harrison then cuts it square to Chimalilo. Just doesn't quite get a shot on it. Timon's going to try an effort there, but curls it wide off the mark. It's a really poor corner, but it's just swung back and almost a free cone goal there, headed back in and off the line. It sort of spun upwards off Connor Smith, and then it was off the line by Hawkins.
Didn't connect with it as he intended to, not Vic Smith there, did he?
Certainly didn't. It's a chance now for Whitby then down the left hand side. Hawkins bringing it infield and then playing it through to Harley Dawson. Dawson now down the left for Whitby. Low ball into the box there, and Timon was falling. It's going to drop to Connor Smith. Smith now edge of Workington's penalty area. Goes outside with the ball and then wastes it.
That wasn't a shot over across, that was it?
No.
Well, that was the story of Saturday's 0-0 draw against Workington, and I'm very pleased to say that Liam Ryder from the Whitby Town media team is alongside me. Liam, it was obviously disappointing and a little frustrating, but at least it's a point. At least we're a further point away from that dreaded relegation zone.
Yeah, I mean, there is that. Like you say, frustrating. Definitely disappointing result. It was certainly a game we identified as one we could try and win to sort of get back on course, if you like, and take advantage ultimately of the amount of games that were called off yesterday, to sort of put a bit of a cushion between ourselves and that relegation zone. As it goes, we've got a point. Workington, fair play to them. They've got a bit of fight about them to try and get themselves out of the situation they find themselves in. But from a Whitby point of view, it was just frustrating, I think, not to go and win that game, because it did feel like we had, we got into the right areas and had chances to do so.
Yeah, just speaking to Paul, I mean, he mentioned that the Ben Farah, Michael Woods partnership worked pretty well. And how much of a turning point was it when Woods had to go off injured?
It did feel that way, because we all know what Michael Woods can offer in terms of his creativity from midfield. He's a very experienced player, and knows where the back of the net is, knows how to get involved in goals. It did seem that there was potential for that partnership to really work well together, and unfortunately it got cut short in the end, and Ben Farah himself ended up getting substituted off. So that went for a more physical presence up front with Matthew Timon in that second half. But just on Farah, I think it probably links in with Woods coming off, really, because it did feel that what I've seen of him, we perhaps didn't play to his strengths too much, because to me he sort of seems like, I think Paul referenced it, saying he sort of compared to Brad Fuster when he first came to the club, in that he's a player that wants to play on the shoulders and get in behind, and it just felt that when Woods went off, we sort of lost that. We were playing to his feet a lot more, which doesn't look like it's going to be his strength, but at the same time he still got himself chances. And I look back at that diving header just before half time, that really I feel like that's a chance that wasn't even created in a few weeks ago, but really came from a cross, sort of just a hopeful ball into the box, really. But Farah did his best to keep it alive and force the goalkeeper into a save. So certainly positive signs. But yeah, it does feel a shame that Michael Woods had to come off again because, like you say, that it felt like they were potentially linking up quite well.
Indeed. The positive, of course, that we kept a clean sheet. The defence, dare I say, is looking pretty solid these days. And Alex Nelson in particular, who picked the man of the match award up, was in good form.
Yeah, I thought he was superb. Alex Nelson there, he sort of epitomised everything that you want from a player at this level, showing that commitment. I know that some supporters perhaps are questioning that at the moment, but you can't really fault Alex Nelson there because he was playing through a bit of an injury. I think he sort of referenced in his interview that he thinks he rolled his ankle about 4 times in that match. But, he just carried on. I think that's what we need in this team, really, in a situation we're in, just players that are really willing to keep going regardless of the situation. And hopefully for Nella, it's just a case of not being anything too serious and more longer term.
Indeed, and Liam caught up with Alex Nelson after Saturday's game.
Well, Nella, it's finished. Whitby Town 0, Workington 0 this afternoon. First of all, just your thoughts on that one.
I think first half, I think we did really well. I think we dominated, most of the play. I think we created a few chances, got in some good areas. Second half, I think we started off the same, but they grew into it and made it a bit more niggly of a game, a bit more battling, fighting. And then the last maybe 20 minutes, I just thought it was anyone's game, really. It was almost like a basketball game. As bad as that sounds, it literally just, we were attacking, it brought down, they were attacking. There was no rest for attack or defence from either team, really. Anyone probably could have won it at the end. But I'm happy with a clean sheet. It's nice to have a clean sheet again, but like you said, we need to start scoring some more goals, I think, personally.
Yeah, and it was a man of the match performance for yourself out there as well, and a proper battling one because you look like you were a bit sort of walking wounded towards the end of that.
Yeah, it's just, I think I rolled my ankle about 4 times in the space of about 10 minutes. So that's all it was. Obviously, when you roll it does hurt. I've done it before. I'll get it strapped up and we'll be alright for Tuesday. But yeah, it was a battling performance for everyone, I think. I don't think we can class like the effort is not there. I think everyone gave 100%. We worked hard. Like you said, it was just that maybe extra touch or extra pass or extra decision making, really, that could have won us a game that unfortunately didn't today. That's the only thing I'd say.
Yeah, and it went back as well to a back 4 this afternoon. It looked like it worked a bit better because I know Charles sort of back 3 against Morpeth and Boxing Day, and that backfired a bit. So do you feel that that's sort of back in how you're feeling comfortable at the back?
Yeah, I think a back 4, I think it's been tried, it's been tested. We have tried a back 3 before, but I think personally, a back 4 works better for me anyway. I think everyone knows about where they are. They're supposed to be playing, positioning wide, what they're supposed to cover, who's men they're supposed to track, and all that type of stuff. For a back 4, I think it's a lot easier to sort of work out. So yeah, personally, I think 4 backs are a better formation. Like you said, we've done it for the majority of the season, so we know our roles and we know exactly how to play it. So I think that is better for us. Like you said, with a clean sheet as well, I'm happy with that as a back 4 anyway.
Yeah, and how have you found it as well the last few weeks? Obviously not been having many matches to play, I suppose, more than anything, just grateful to be out there again. You're looking to get a bit of a consistent run now.
Yeah, like you said, it's awful when there's a game off. It could be frozen pitch, snow, whatever it might be, waterlogged. I always, obviously, that's how you spend your Saturdays. You don't want to do yourself for the Saturdays when you're not playing, especially the off season as well. It's just like you're waiting for the football to come at the weekend and it's not there. But we've been training, like you said, everyone's been taking over, they've been running and all sorts in training. So, but it is nice to get back out there. It's nice to, like you said, get some minutes under the legs and, like you said, get a point at least on the board. Hopefully, well, I'd like to have been 3 today. Good opportunity to be 3, but like I said, a point is better than nothing, and hopefully that'll keep us in good stead for the next couple of run of games, because January I know is a busy fixture list for us. There's quite a lot of games, so we just got to dust ourselves down and move on to the next one, really, on Tuesday night.
That was Alex Nelson speaking to Liam after the 0-0 draw against Workington. Another clean sheet and another strong performance from the young centre half. And we can also hear from the Whitby Town player manager, Gary Liddle, who also spoke to Liam.
Well, Gary, it's finished. Whitby Town 0, Workington 0, the first game of 2026 finally. A bit of a disappointing one out there.
Yeah, we're disappointed as a group. I think coming into the game, it's obviously one we wanted to win. We felt it was a good opportunity to start the year. Would have been our first game on a good footing. And no, we I asked for just to make sure the mentality was right. Really, that's no disrespect to Workington. We're coming up against the team at the bottom of the league, and no, I just thought if our mentality was right in terms of all the stuff that you need to go and win a game of football, whether you're playing a team at the top or whether you're playing a team like Workington who were struggling down at the bottom of the league, then we'll certainly give ourselves a good chance. And I can't fault the work rate, the effort to try and win, and the effort to get the club the first win of the year. But ultimately, we just lacked that little bit of end product. In both halves really, we had a few chances obviously that just went past the post, but I also felt there was other times when we could have shot, or we could have took a little bit of extra care, whether it be with that final pass or shot or cross, and that's ultimately what let us down. And to be fair, then they could have won it as well towards the end. While we're going a little bit gung ho and trying to get that goal. They had a few counter-attacking situations themselves where we've got a bit lucky. So the draw is a result I'm happy with, no. But is it a fair reflection of the game as a whole? I'd probably say yes.
And you referenced it there that you don't question the desire. And I know we heard a comment towards the end from Adam Gallett there, sort of just saying to players, "Love to want to win." Do you think it's perhaps just sort of a confidence problem for quite a few players like that at the moment?
They are trying, and it's a good group of players in there and a good group of lads, and they care about the football club, they care about playing for each other, and they want to win games. And we would just find that a little bit difficult at the moment. And to win games, you've got to score goals, and that's that final end product, and that final little bit, that's the most difficult part of being a football player. And that's where we're getting let down at the moment, and not just forward players, but anyone. We're just looking for someone to take the bull by the horns, if you like, and get that goal for us, and hopefully they'll follow on in the draws from that, and we'll get a few wins. We haven't changed much from we went on a run earlier in the season where we went on an 89 game decent run, and nothing's changed from that. We're just in a bit of a dry spell in terms of our goal scoring, and it needs rectifying. I think we're all quite aware of that, and hopefully that will come. We're disappointed, as I've just said in there, but we go again, and hopefully that changes on Tuesday.
Yeah, and an attempt to try and sort things out in front of goal. You brought in Ben Farah over the last week, who's someone you spoke really highly of, and you could see glimpses, but it did feel that couldn't really get him into the game too much when he was out there.
Yeah, he had a few half chances, didn't he? He had one in the first, a couple in the first half actually, and one on his weaker side from a tight angle, and then he had a header just on the stroke for half time. But you can see what he brings. His hold up play was good. He ran channels and showed good pace, and it was a good debut from Ben. I'm quite pleased with Ben, and he showed that he can come in and be an asset for the team and for the squad as a whole. So hopefully that's it's got him off and running in terms of his footing with us. He's only really trained with us once or twice, so it's obviously the first game situation that he's been involved with the group. So hopefully that serves him well in that respect, and he can go on and grab those goals for us.
Yeah, and at the other end of the pitch as well, someone that definitely epitomises that desire and passion for playing for Whitby was Alex Nelson. Sort of looked a bit battered and bruised towards the end. Hopefully nothing too serious there, but a really strong performance from him at the back.
Excellent, and he's been very good for all season now. So really, he's been a terrific signing for me, and his commitment, his consistency in how he defends and how he plays is really good. And in games like that where you need people to fight and to put the bodies on the line, and there's no one better than Nels. I thought Nels was one of that four-man back line who all performed really well. But as I just said in there, I think sometimes that they're over having to overperform and over exert themselves. They're all on the feet in there because they've had to work so hard, and that's because we're a little bit sloppy at the top end of the pitch, where there's too many turnovers and too many transitions, where those back lads are having to do a lot of emergency defending, which as we've seen right at the end there, it fell for us all right today, but on another day it might not. But clean sheet, we took positives from that, but those lads are keeping clean sheets. We certainly need to help them out at the other end by scoring some goals.
Yeah, and then weather permitting, going to be another quick turnaround back at home on Tuesday night. Ilkeston Town visitors for that one, and I guess really you've got to try and just, sort of work out perhaps where it didn't click in attack today and try and sort of rectify those for Tuesday.
Yeah, well, look, I know that they've won today, so they'll come with a little bit of confidence as well. I think they've been on a decent run recently over the last couple of results. So, no, a tough game, and that's it. We've, as I've just said it out, we push it under the carpet in some respect. In terms of now we just look forward to Ilkeston, but there's certainly a lot of stuff that we can improve on off today. Certainly in an attacking aspect. But we keep doing that. Whether it be in training or whatever like that. So no, we'll look forward to Tuesday, and we're just looking for that little spark that hopefully can reignite our season again a little bit.
That's Gary Liddle talking to Liam after the Workington game. I guess it's just nervous, fingers crossed ahead of Tuesday. A, for the weather to hold out, Liam, but also B, that those players who went off injured, that it was mainly precautionary and they're okay for that midweek game against Ilkeston.
Yeah, that's got to be it, isn't it? Because we've been somewhat blessed recently that we've had a lot of players available to us, which is a rarity. So for us to lose a few would be a bit of a shame, and I'm sure Gary Liddle won't be too happy with that either. But I think you've got to look at it, and as much as maybe we haven't kicked into the midweek games yet, it's come a bit early, but you kind of felt inevitable that these players were going to get injuries once the schedule starts getting relentless, as it looks like it's going to do over the next month or so, really, with the postponements elsewhere and having a lot of Saturday, Tuesday turnaround. So it's kind of, what we've come to expect. But yeah, I think the main thing is that we just want nothing too long term. I know positives that we've got Ronnie McGrath back in training, and Jarrett Rivers, he's available but can't get himself in a squad at the moment. So we know we've got options to call on elsewhere, but especially these key players, it is a real blow when they get themselves injured. And I think really, it's just a case of being nothing too sinister that's going to rule them out for a long period of what we expect.
Indeed, I was going to mention Ronnie McGrath, who can't be too far away from being back in contention. I know he started training again last week, so that's a really, really positive sign. I feel like Gary Liddle is very aware of the volume of fixtures coming up, and I wouldn't be surprised if he made a few changes in midweek, rotated things, Liam.
Yeah, I think where he can, he may well do that. But I think, the attack's going to be an interesting one, really. We've already mentioned Ben Farrer, the impact that he looks like he could have on the side, which looks really positive. But elsewhere, it does feel like it's just gone a bit sort of stagnant up there, really. We sort of talked about later, Watson, Donald Chimalilo sort of really wanted to play as number 10s with the system we've been playing. It sort of forced them out wide a bit. So, we've got options, but I think it's just a case of how we keep those in there. Chimalilo, we know what he's capable of. He can sort of get a goal from nothing. A moment of magic is direct running, but at the same time yesterday, he sort of tried to do it almost too much, and a few times just ran straight to a brick wall, essentially, which was a Workington defender. So, once teams suss him out, it maybe doesn't work as much. So, we've got options there. It's just a case of what we're doing. Aaron Haswell, he came off the bench yesterday, and I think he was playing at left back, but he was very advanced at times. We know the quality he's got, potential for him maybe to come back in, because I feel that he's been quite harshly done by recently, because when he has played this season, he's invariably done quite well. But at the moment, can't seem to find himself a starting berth. So maybe we'll see him come in. Also, that decision lies with Gary Liddle, of course. But, options there, which is the main thing. I think it's just trying to find new ways of trying to score goals, because the stats don't lie. We are struggling in front of goal. The positive yesterday was it was a clean sheet. Maybe we could have lost that game earlier in the season, but just going forward, we just need to find goals from somewhere, by whatever means that is.
Yeah, indeed. I was going to say, and just moving away from the match itself, just to pay a compliment to Darren, the groundsman. But I know we were speaking in the week very nervously about whether the pitch would be ready, whether the game would be on. I mean, he's worked really hard, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's outstanding work from Darren. As ever, he always does his best to get a game on if at all possible. By his own admission, he did say, look, there was no chance of getting any machinery on there. But he got it playable, and that was the main thing. Naturally it cut up. in fairness, I was expecting it to be a lot worse. I was having visions when I got to the ground on Saturday morning, just had a sort of wander around the edge, and you could see some real sort of wet areas, and I was having visions of Stafford at home in 2020, with it being completely brown at full time. But it held up pretty well, other than sort of a patch really where the Workington players decided to warm up even though they were asked not to. So that was helpful of them. But other than that, it looks like a winter pitch, if you like. But it certainly held up a lot better than expected. It's just a shame now that it's had another layer of snow on top of it overnight, and heavy rain forecast for the rest of Sunday, and a bit on Monday and Tuesday as well. So we'll just have to see ahead of Tuesday night. But ultimately, we needed a home game on for the financial side of it. The crowd probably wasn't great, but with the weather, it's kind of what we come to expect. And the main thing is we've got that game on. It's another game out of the way, and not another Tuesday night at home we've got to worry about.
That's right. I was going to say that's Tuesday to come, but yeah, it was only 3-5-3 through the gates on Saturday. But I guess you in these sort of conditions, you find out who your fair weather fans are and who are the real determined heart, the hardcore, and I suppose it's fair play to those who made their way out in sub-zero temperatures.
Yeah, exactly. We got the people there that we sort of come to expect. I know we're missing Kev Hope, we'll give a shout out. He's still recovering, and Tim Ingle wasn't there either, but admittedly we'll let him off considering he lives down in Nottingham, and I know that the Midlands have been pretty battered with this storm at the moment, haven't they? So it was a bit quiet, but fair play to the kids that usually sort of sing along with the Seasiders chant when Kev and Tim are going. They were still doing their bit to try and get some support behind the lads. It's just one of those, isn't it? The weather is what it is, and I think the thing we've got is with Whitby is, we have a few fans that do live away, and they're very committed to coming up. So when the weather does turn, expectedly you don't get them at the game. But it was good to see yesterday as well. I think a few people that I know lived over like Teesside, where they came across just because they saw it was the only game sort of on in the area, which again, kudos to Darren for getting that. So a few new faces through. Hopefully they weren't too disappointed, much as there were no goals in there. And I think we just need everyone to come together now, and when we can, when the weather does improve, get as many people through the gates as we can, because I think the club needs it at the moment.
That's quite right, yes, and the earliest opportunity for that, weather permitting, is Tuesday evening. Ilkeston going to the Tobar Express Stadium, 7:45pm kickoff for that. If you can be in there in person, that would be great. If you really can't make it, we do have live commentary with Liam and Paul and the rest of the team there, the Whitby Town media team, on This Is the Coast Extra. For that one, of course, Liam, we end every podcast with a shout out for the thing that got Ben Farrer to the club, Boost the Budget.
Yeah, absolutely. Finally being able to put proper use of that. So just wait for the opportunity to come around. But yeah, if you are able to spare anything for that, just head to the Whitby Town website, whitbytownfc.com. And if you go to the club shop section, or there is also a tab at the top where it just says Boost the Budget. So just click that. You can make a donation there from £5 upwards. Or if you want to just make a one-off donation as well, just get in touch with us and we can direct you in the right direction for that. But just while we're on the topic of the shop as well, we've got the centenary pin badges now back in there, available online. So I know they sold quite well on Saturday. So if anyone didn't get one, would like one, they're now available, and we'll post them out to you. And the same with the hats as well. Home and away variants now back in stock as well. So yeah, plenty to try and support the club with. In terms of the merchandise, I'm personally loving seeing so many of the hats and shirts kicking around the ground. So yeah, head to the Whitby Town website for that, and you'll find plenty of other merchandise on there as well.
Absolutely, Liam. Thank you very much for joining me, and also to our other guests, Gary Liddle and Alex Nelson, as well as you for listening. We'll be back after Tuesday's big game, Ilkeston, at the Tobar Express Stadium, with another Codcast. Bye for now.